Welcome to the Deep Dive. We've got quite a stack of sources here, all about the recent Apple WWDC 2025 event. We looked at articles, some reports, even the keynote transcript itself.
Yeah, and our goal today is really to sift through all those announcements, find the key takeaways, and help you make sense of what actually matters from everything Apple presented.
Exactly, it was a lot. Mostly software, right? iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, visionOS, all got updates.
Right, and the big themes that kept popping up in these sources seem to be a major design change, a really deep push into AI, and of course stuff for developers.
So let's unpack that. Where should we start? Maybe with the design.
Sounds good. That seems pretty foundational.
Okay, so this first big theme, a whole new design language. The sources are calling it the broadest design update ever, and there's this term, liquid glass. What's the deal with that?
Well, liquid glass, based on what we're reading, it's not just about a new coat of paint, The idea seems to be making the experience feel, beautiful, personal, but also keeping your content right there, front and center.
So familiar, but...
Elevated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Still feels like Apple, but maybe more fluid, more responsive, perhaps. That seems to be the goal.
And it's not just iOS, right? This is meant to span across everything.
Precisely. They're aiming for a more harmonious look and feel, whether you're on your iPhone, iPad, Mac, watch, even Vision Pro. It should all feel visually connected.
Do the sources give any concrete examples of where this liquid glass is actually showing up?
Yeah, a few things were mentioned. Like on macOS, you can now customize folder icons, specific colors, symbols, that kind of thing, and themes are being integrated more.
Okay.
And for developers using SwiftUI, the toolbars, they're now defaulting to this new glassy sort of translucent style. It looks like they're really building it into the core tools.
So it'll spread through apps naturally? Makes sense. All right, let's shift gears. Probably the biggest headline, right? Apple Intelligence. It was there last year, but this feels deeper.
Absolutely. The sources really emphasize the privacy aspect again. Most of the AI models run right on your device, super fast, super private, but not everything can run on device, surely.
Right. For the heavier lifting, they have something called private cloud compute.
Okay, private cloud compute. How's it different from just, sending data off to some random server?
That's a really important point the sources stress. It's designed to basically extend the privacy protections of your phone to the cloud. Your data is only used for that specific request. It's not stored. Apple can't see it. They even said independent experts can check the code to verify it. It's Apple's way of doing powerful cloud AI without, that privacy trade-off.
Okay, that's clearer. And here's something that sounds really interesting for developers. This new foundation models framework.
Yeah, this is a big one. It essentially lets third-party devs tap directly into Apple's own on-device AI models.
So developers can build AI features into their apps.
Exactly. Features that run locally are really fast, keep user data private, and even work offline. Apple's basically providing the engine, and developers can build on top of it.
Wow, okay. That opens up a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk specifics. Genmoji and Image Playground got upgrades.
They did. Genmoji is getting more creative. You can mix existing emoji, add descriptions to make new ones, and Image Playground, it lets you tweak personal details in images, like hair or expressions, using photos of your actual family and friends as a reference.
Making generated images more personal. And what about the ChatGPT integration in Image Playground?
Yeah, they're adding new styles like oil painting, vector art. Some of these use integrations, including ChatGPT, and the sources are very clear here, nothing gets shared with ChatGPT unless you explicitly say, okay, you're always in control.
Control is key. Got it. There's also this any style option.
Right, where you just describe the look you want. More flexibility.
Okay, moving on. Visual intelligence updates sounded pretty significant, especially being able to interact with stuff on your screen.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. It lets you search and act on pretty much anything you're looking at, no matter the app.
So if I see, a cool lamp in a photo,
you could ask AI about it, maybe using the ChatGPT integration if you allow it for that query. Or you could search Google or Etsy for similar lamps right from the image. You can even highlight just the lamp itself to search for it.
That's powerful. And it recognizes events, too, like meeting details in an email.
Exactly. It can spot dates, times, locations, and suggest adding it straight to your calendar. It's about making the info on your screen more actionable.
And you just access it using the screenshot buttons.
Yep, same gesture. Pretty seamless.
Another big AI feature, live translation. And again, on device for privacy, the sources say.
That's the key. Because it's on device, it can do real-time translation in messages as you type.
Yeah.
And even cooler, live translated captions during FaceTime and phone calls.
While still hearing the original voice.
Yeah. And none of that conversation data goes to the cloud. That's pretty impressive.
Apple Intelligence is also boosting shortcuts.
Yeah, you can build AI directly into your shortcuts now. Things like summarizing text or creating images using those Apple models, either on device or via private cloud compute.
And organizing stuff, like reminders.
It can scan your content, find action items, suggest adding them as reminders, or even categorize reminders based on context. Oh, and there was a quick mention of an AI workout buddy for watchOS 2. Personalized motivation.
Now, it was interesting that Craig Federighi apparently acknowledged Siri still needs work, despite all this AI focus.
Yeah, it seems like the strategy is embedding the intelligence everywhere first, building that foundation. Siri becoming a truly conversational assistant, that's probably still, a work in progress built on this new foundation. Takes time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And who gets all this? Which devices support Apple Intelligence?
Okay, so sources list the upcoming iPhone 16 models, plus the current iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. For iPads and Macs, you need an M1 chip or newer.
And the iPad mini.
Yeah, so you meant specifically getting the A17 Pro chip, which would enable it. Oh, and your device language and Siri language need to be set to the same supported language. Currently, US English is the main one mentioned.
Got it. Okay, let's shift from pure AI to the OS updates themselves.
Yeah.
iPadOS 26. Sounds like it's getting even more Mac-like.
It really does. The big thing is this new windowing system for multitasking. There's like a grab handle to resize apps, a flick gesture to tile them, and an Expo Summit-style view for all open windows.
Bringing proper window management to iPad.
Pretty much, more desktop-like. Plus, a persistent menu bar at the top, like on macOS.
And the Files app is finally getting more powerful.
Yeah, things like a detailed list view, resizable columns, dragging folders to the dock, stuff people have wanted for a while.
And this works with Sage Manager and external displays.
Yep, it all integrates. But you mentioned seeing some debate about this on the iPad mini.
Yeah, the sources noted some discussion on whether complex windowing really makes sense on that smaller screen.
That's fair. Powerful features, but maybe less practical on the mini itself versus a larger iPad or connected display.
Okay, macOS 26, Tahoe. Beyond the liquid glass look, what's new there functionally?
Continuity gets a boost. There's a full-blown phone app on the Mac now. Syncs your recents, voicemail.
Call screening, too.
Yep, and this interesting hold assist feature where your Mac waits on hold for you.
Huh. That sounds useful. What else?
Live activities from your iPhone now show up in the Mac menu bar. So quick glances at timers, scores, deliveries.
It's convenient. But the big ones seem to be Spotlight.
Oh, yeah. Huge overhaul. It's becoming less of a file finder, more of a universal command center.
Command center. How?
It's got intelligent filtering, quick keys for actions. You can do stuff like send an email or run a shortcut right from the search results. And crucially, it searches third-party cloud services now, too.
So blurring the lines between local and cloud.
Exactly. It feels like the place to interact with all your info wherever it lives.
That's a big shift. Another completely new thing. A dedicated Apple Games app.
Yeah, seems like a sign Apple's taking gaming more seriously across the board. It's a hub on iOS, iPadOS, Mac, Vision Pro.
What's in it?
A home tab for discovery, an arcade section, your game library, and a play together tab for social gaming with friends.
Okay, consolidating things. Any other notable smaller updates across the board?
Yeah, quite a few actually. CarPlay gets a less intrusive compact view for calls, plus updates in messages, widgets, live activities.
Wallet updates. I saw something about passports.
Digital ID support for passports, yeah.
Yeah.
But the sources stress it's not a physical replacement and only works with TSA at specific spots for now. Also, updates for redeeming rewards in person, installments, and live activities for boarding passes. Car keys expanding, too.
Maps, watchOS.
WAMPS learns your routes, gives better travel times, remembers places. watchOS 26 gets the Notes app, finally. Also, a new wrist flick gesture on Series 9, 10, Ultra 2 to dismiss notifications or calls.
Using the motion sensors.
Exactly. Accelerometer, gyroscope, ML model, plus automatic speaker volume adjustment based on noise, and a redesigned watch face gallery.
And Vision Pro.
Vision OS 26 adds support for PlayStation VR2 Sense controllers, big for gaming. And hand tracking gets a bump to 90 Hz for smoother interaction. So, yeah, lots of refinements everywhere.
Okay, let's briefly hit the developer stuff and the compliance context mentioned.
Sure. For devs, Swift 6.2 makes single-threaded code easier. There's a new containerization framework for running Linux containers directly on Mac, optimized for Apple Silicon.
Swift UI updates, too.
Yep, new tab API, toolbar spacer, a new WebView component, and better performance on macOS.
And the sources mention the ongoing Swift data versus core data discussion.
Right. It's a key point for developers. Swift data is newer, easier for Swift UI, the direction Apple's pushing. But core data is, battle-tested since 2005, super mature, powerful, especially for complex apps or existing projects.
So core data isn't going away anytime soon.
Doesn't sound like it. Swift data is the future, but core data still has its place, definitely.
Lastly, the DMA compliance in the EU. We need to be careful here. Just reporting what the sources say Apple implemented in connection with it, right? No legal takes.
Exactly. So, based on the sources, Apple outlined measures for the EU market. Things like alternative app distribution, other marketplaces, direct web downloads on iOS iPadOS.
And a new default settings page. And a browser choice screen.
Yeah, that choice screen shows up once if Safari is the default. And if you migrate devices, your old choice doesn't carry over. If it was Safari, you have to choose again. Also, apps can prompt you to set them as default no matter where you got them from.
Developers get more data access, too.
Through the App Store Connect API, including DMA reports, but with privacy safeguards. And users get more control over data portability and revoking third-party access.
And Apple's position, according to the sources, is these steps were taken in discussion with the EC, but don't prejudice their overall legal stance.
That's the gist of how the sources presented it, accommodating concerns while reserving their position.
Okay, quick wrap-up on event details and reactions. They confirmed the year-based naming. iOS 26, macOS 26 Tahoe, etc.
Developer betas are out now, public betas next month, full release in the fall, as usual.
And yeah, the sources mentioned some fun bits, like Craig Federighi joking about Air Force One in that F1 movie promo.
Always good for a chuckle. And reactions were, mixed, as you'd expect. Some loved the liquid glass UI, others found it maybe too glassy or reminiscent of older styles. Lots of debate on iPadOS becoming more Mac-like, good for productivity, maybe too complex for some.
And developers are digging into Swift data versus core data and the DMA implications.
Naturally. Lots for them to unpack.
So, pulling it all together from this deep dive, we've got this sweeping design change, liquid glass trying to unify everything, deep AI integration, Apple Intelligence focusing hard on privacy and giving devs new tools.
Right. Plus big OS boosts like iPad multitasking and the macOS Spotlight overhaul, and updates across the board, new Games app, CarPlay, Wallet, watchOS features.
And all this happening while they're also navigating regulatory stuff like the DMA.
It really helps to look at all these sources together to get the full picture of what WWDC 2025 delivered.
Definitely. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. With Apple weaving AI, design, and developer tools so tightly across their whole system, while also adapting to external pressures, what are you personally most excited or maybe cautious about seeing on your own devices?
Yeah, what new doors does this open up for how you use your tech, and what questions does it raise for you about where all this is headed? Something to think about.